You've probably heard people say things like, just rent while you're stationed here, it's safer, or you should buy now and build equity while you can. But which one actually makes sense for you, especially here on Whidbey Island? Today, we're breaking down renting versus buying on the north end of Whidbey, specifically Oak Harbor, where most of our VA buyers are stationed. We'll look at what your 2025 BAH rates really cover, what your options look like, and how to figure out whether it makes more sense to rent or buy during your tour here. Let's start with the numbers. For 2025, in the 98277 zip code, an E5 with dependents earns about $2,028 per month in BAH. An E6 with dependents earns around $2,640. Now, here's the thing. It's not common in Oak Harbor for your BAH to cover your entire housing expense. Rental prices have gone up across the board. A 3-bedroom home or townhouse typically ranges from $2,300 to around $3,000 a month, depending on condition and proximity to base. So for many families, that BAH does not stretch as far as it used to, but that doesn't automatically mean renting is your only option either. Let's start with renting because for some families, it really does make sense. First off, there's a low commitment. If you might transfer sooner than expected or aren't sure how long you'll be stationed here, renting gives you flexibility, fewer upfront costs, no down payment, no closing costs, no inspection fees, less responsibility. If the water heater goes out or the roof leaks, that's the landlord's problem, not yours. Predictable short-term costs. Your monthly rent stays consistent during your lease term, and that can make budgeting easier. But renting also comes with trade-offs. First, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Even if you're only here for 3 years, that's roughly $70,000 in rent gone with nothing to show for it. Limited control. Maybe you can't paint, can't have pets, or the landlord decides to sell halfway through your lease. Rents keep climbing, even with rent control. Washington does have rent control limits for large increases, but landlords can still raise rent by hundreds of dollars a year depending on property taxes, maintenance costs, or new management. So even if your rent starts affordable, it does not always stay that way. Now, let's talk about the benefits of buying, especially if you're eligible for a VA loan. Number one, 0% down payment. Most VA buyers use no down payment, which is a huge advantage. Number two, you build equity. Every mortgage payment chips away at your principal, and here on Whidbey, property values have historically held steady thanks to the base and limited housing inventory. Number three, you can rent it out later. If you PCS, your home can become a rental. A lot of service members on Whidbey have built long-term wealth this way. They buy once, move out, and let tenants pay down their mortgage. Next is the freedom to personalize. No HOA, if that's what you choose, or landlord telling you what color to paint your door or whether you can add a dog to the family. Of course, homeownership isn't perfect either. Maintenance is on you. If something breaks, it is your responsibility, and even small things like landscaping, gutters, or appliance replacements can add up. Upfront costs. Even with zero down, you still have closing costs, earnest money, and inspection fees. Sometimes we can negotiate seller concessions to help with that, but it's something to plan for. Market timing. If you have to sell quickly and the market hasn't caught up, you might not walk away with as much as you had hoped. That's why it's important to think beyond just your tour and consider what happens after you PCS. So, how do you figure out what you can really afford? There's a great framework I learned about from Humphrey Yang. It's called the 8.71% rule. His video is where I got inspiration for this one, and he does a really great job explaining how to apply it in real life. Here's the idea. If you take the total cost of your home and multiply it by 0.0871, that gives you a realistic estimate of your total monthly cost, including mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. It's not a perfect formula, but it's a great gut check when you're comparing rent versus buy. If buying feels out of reach, there are still ways to make it work. Ask for seller concessions to cover closing costs, negotiate price on homes that have been sitting longer, house hack it, rent out a room to another service member or even short term while your family's away. Look at condos or townhomes. Just be careful with condo association dues because those can make or break your monthly budget. Even small moves like these can make home ownership on Whidbey completely doable. At the end of the day, there's no one size fits all answer. For some, renting brings peace of mind and flexibility, and for others, buying builds stability and a path towards long term wealth. The key is knowing your numbers and understanding how to make your BAH and benefits work for you, not against you. If you want to chat more about how to make homeownership work for your situation, text PCS to 360-295-4472 and I'll help you figure out your next move. Because even if your BAH doesn't cover everything, with the right strategy, homeownership on Whidbey is possible.